Hello and a very happy new year to you. We are kicking off 2024 in style with not one, not two, but 3 new episodes. So not only is there this episode in your podcast inbox, but there should be 2 others as well. Now, before you hear the sound of the music and the episode gets going, I wanted to let you know that this year, the year 2024, I'm going to be going on a little UK tour around some schools and visiting some assemblies. In the assemblies, I will be doing some live podcasts on some of the most special players who have ever lived. If you want me to come to your school to do a live podcast, please ask an adult to speak to your school about getting in contact. The school can contact me on footballforkidspodcast@gmail.com. Hello and welcome to the Football for Kids podcast with me, Darren Rees. In this episode, we'll be talking about the Messi Trios. Over the years, football has seen some of the most magnificent footballing trios. And on another episode, we'll tackle some of those as well. But in this episode, we're going to focus on some of Messi's best trios. Before we do that, we need to do a couple of your shout-outs and messages. The first one says, "Hi Darren, my name is Harry. I'm 8 years old and I live in Kapiti, New Zealand. I'm a massive Spurs, Wellington Phoenix and Barcelona supporter. My favourite player is Heung-min Son and I think a podcast on him would be awesome. Me and my dad love listening to your podcast, so thank you, from Harry Mowbray." Me and my dad love listening to your podcast, so thank you. And that one is from Harry. Well, Harry, a massive shout out to you and your dad, and hopefully you've had a chance to listen to the episode which I did on Heung-min Son a little while ago. The next one says, "Dear Darren, my name is Jake and I live in North London. My dad and grandparents are from Manchester and I'm a big Manchester United fan. I play for SFC Under-7s. Thank you so much for all of your brilliant podcast episodes. I've listened to every single one. I really like midfielders and would like it if you could do some episodes on Toni Kroos, who I think is an amazing passer, and Casemiro, who is great at skills and tackling." Well, Jake, lucky for you, I've literally just released an episode on Toni Kroos, and hopefully you've checked out the episode on Casemiro as well. Right then, it's time to get into the episode on the Messi Trios. One of the first trios that Messi was in was one of the greatest of all time. A trio of 3 of the most incredible players to play for Barcelona and to play football in general. Samuel Eto'o, Thierry Henry, and of course the main man himself, Lionel Messi. We haven't done an episode on Samuel Eto'o yet, but we will one day. Just in case you may have not have heard of him, he is retired now, but he was a Cameroon international player who played for the likes of Chelsea, Real Madrid, Inter Milan, and of course, Barcelona. Eto'o spent 5 seasons at Barca, playing somewhere around 200 games and scoring 130 cracking goals. We haven't done an episode on Thierry Henry either. There are so many good episodes to make. But just in case you didn't know bundles about Thierry Henry, well, where do we start? One of the greatest players to ever play for France, an Arsenal legend, a former Juventus player, and of course, a Barcelona player too. Eto'o was in the Barca team from 2004 until the 2009 season. Henry was in the team from 2007 to 2010, and Messi. Well, he was practically born at Barca, and he only left the club in 2021. The time which is remembered the most about this trio of legends was the 2008-2009 season, where new manager Pep Guardiola took over. Ronaldinho had recently left, but there was a trio who meant business, and my goodness, did they make their presence known. Barcelona and the Eto'o, Henry and Messi trio went 22 games without being defeated early on in the season. They did the La Liga double over their bitter rivals Real Madrid, beating them 2-1 at home, and then went on to thump them 6-2 away. Messi scored 3, Henry scored 2, and Eto'o scored 1 against Real in their 2 La Liga meets. Barcelona went on to win the La Liga, being 9 points clear at the top of the league. It didn't stop there though, because a tournament known as the Copa del Rey was another on their hit list that season. The Copa del Rey is similar to the FA Cup, but not quite the same. It is known as one of the most prestigious football tournaments in the world. Barcelona went on to win it, beating Athletic Bilbao in the final by 4-1. In the same season, Barcelona were on fire in the Champions League, and the trio were assisting and scoring with each other almost every game, meaning Barca topped their group. Barcelona ended up making the final and playing Manchester United. The game finished 2-0, with Samuel Eto'o scoring 1 and Lionel Messi scoring the other. The trio of Henry, Eto'o and Messi was a humongous part of Barcelona winning the first treble in Spanish football history, and between them, they scored 100 goals. The second Messi trio we need to speak about is probably the most famous one. Again, when he was at Barcelona and when he played with Luis Suarez and Neymar Jr. I've done an episode on Luis Suarez, which was selected by the super listeners on Patreon. So for those of you who don't know much about him, he played for Ajax, Liverpool, Atletico Madrid, and of course Barcelona. He has recently signed to play for Inter Miami, so he and Messi are back together again and will be causing havoc on the pitch stateside. Hopefully you've listened to the episode which I did on Neymar Jr. It's one of the most listened to episodes that is on the podcast, so hopefully you'll know all about the skills and the ability of Neymar. The Super Trio was also known as MSN, which for you adults out there listening, it had nothing to do with the glory days of MSN Messenger. MSN stood for Messi, Suarez, Neymar, and between them, over 3 seasons, they were completely unstoppable, and possibly the greatest trio of all time. The 3 players, over 3 seasons, won Barcelona 7 major trophies. Between them, they made 173 assists and scored a mind-blowing 364 goals. Barcelona fans had cut-out faces of the trio, and in the Barcelona stadium, thousands and thousands of the fans wore these on their faces, making it look like they were everywhere. To be fair, for the opposition team, they probably did feel like they were everywhere. Every game the trio played together, they would attack the opposition's area, moving the ball around with ease. But can you imagine being a goalkeeper, and not only is Luis Suarez running at you, but so is Neymar, and so is Messi? Not for me, thanks. The final trio may not have the numbers or played with each other for the length of time like the other trios did, but the combination again was frightening when they made it work. This time, we're at PSG, where the ridiculous levels of skill and ability between Neymar Jr., Kylian Mbappe and Lionel Messi were quite something. Messi's all-round football vision, experience and skills mixed with Mbappe's petrifying speed, which gave midfielders and defenders nightmares, along with Neymar's dribbling, accuracy and ball control, was a dangerous combination. It didn't work 100% of the time though, but when it did, my goodness did they look good. There were games when the 3 of them would trick shot balls to each other, doing nothing ordinary against top opposition. They would pass the ball over defenders to each other like they were having a kick-about down the park. And then they would score the most outrageous goals that even the away fans stood on their feet reluctantly applauding for, mesmerised by the football they had just witnessed from the trios. There have been some truly spectacular footballing trios over the years, like Gareth Bale, Karim Benzema and Cristiano Ronaldo, or Ronaldinho, R9 Ronaldo and Rivaldo, or Rooney, R7 Ronaldo and Carlos Tevez. When you get these players together and they click, some magical things can happen. I hope that you've enjoyed listening and learning about some of the Messi trios from over the years, and one day I'll cover some episodes on other trios. But before we go, if you were going to put together a trio of players in the past or present, who would it be? Let me know via the comment section on Spotify, by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts, or ask an adult to send an email to footballforkidspodcast@gmail.com. So remember, if you know someone who loves football just as much as you do, then please tell them about Football for Kids. And whether you're playing football soon, watching it on the telly, or pitch side, I hope that you enjoy the game. So see you next time.